So I talked about Desierto way back when I anticipated for 2016 movies. Unbeknownst to me, it never got a theatrical release, and it's been out on Blu-ray for like 2 months. So I was wandering around Family Video, and I just see Desierto on the wall. I'm like, how long has this movie been out? Like I said, it has been out for a while, so spoilers, just a heads up. I mean, particularly because there's a couple things I want to talk about. I'm not just ruining the end for the sake of ruining the end. So concept-wise, Desierto was like fantastic. Like when I first saw the trailer, I'm like, so a bunch of Mexicans are crossing the border. We're gonna also try to go the whole review without mentioning Trump. Let's see if we can do it. A bunch of Mexicans are crossing the border into America. Negan is hunting them down. He's got a German Shepherd and a M14 with a bolt on it. Something else that kind of bothered me. It's like, it's an M14. Why is he pulling the bolt back to eject every shell? M14 is semi-automatic, gas-operated. And I know there are clones of guns, so it's possible it's some other random gun that stole the look of an M14, but has a different operating system inside. But it's still got the twin barrels out front for the gas blowback. I don't know, I thought that was weird. I'm not like a guns expert or anything, but I know an M14 when I see it. And I am absolutely a gun expert because I play Call of Duty, so I know what I'm talking about.
Just because you play Call of Duty doesn't make you a weapons expert. Yes, it does!
And at first it's like from the, you know, visionary filmmakers that brought you Gravity. It's not technically true. Alfonso Cuarón directed Gravity. He's the one who keeps making all the big Oscar picture movies. His brother Jonas Cuarón is generally a producer or a writer, and he's the one who directed this one. So it's like if Jonathan Nolan directed a movie out of nowhere, and it's like, from the filmmakers who brought you The Dark Knight. I'm like, that's kind of cheating. But you can tell some of that did carry over, because it is a gorgeous movie. This movie has breathtaking cinematography. There are these beautiful, glorious landscape shots of Southern America, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, whichever, you know, state they crossed. I guess it could be California, too. Considering the hat that Jeffrey Dean Morgan wears, I'm gonna assume it's Texas. The movie also uses the full screen aspect ratio, so that's 3 points with me. Don't you love it when a movie actually uses the entire screen that you bought and paid for? Isn't that nice? The movie was pitched as this, like, intense horror thriller, like, people trying to survive and somebody's hunting them down. And it's really not like that. I mean, it's clearly trying to be like that, but I gotta be honest, I felt nothing for these people. Nothing. I mean, primarily because their acting sucks, they're not fleshed out good characters at all, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan kills 90% of them in like the first 20 minutes of the movie, just with a sniper rifle at like a mile away, just bam, 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 bam. You really get no feeling from him either. Jeffrey Dean Morgan clearly needed somebody to act off of because it's just him and his dog, and all he kind of says is, I got you, you motherfucker. You fucker. Welcome to the land of the free motherfucker America. And really, when Jeffrey Dean Morgan does come into contact with still-breathing Mexicans, he just finishes them off with a headshot. He doesn't give them a monologue. He doesn't interact with them. He doesn't tell them why he hates them. He doesn't do anything at all. I mean, it's brutal and it's sick, but it feels really cold and empty, and I'm like, there's no motivation behind it, and I feel like there are no stakes because I don't feel anything for these people. And for a movie that's trying to be a thriller, when a German Shepherd is chasing after people and it's closing in on them, and I'm not the least bit tense at all, that's a huge problem. I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan was really, really wasted in this movie. I think the movie could very well have echoed The Green Room, you know, with Patrick Stewart hunting down all these punk emo band members. I even said in my review that I thought Patrick Stewart was kind of wasted in the movie, but even he has a lot more interaction with his victims than Jeffrey Dean Morgan does. I'm telling you, half of these Mexican characters don't even seem scared or worried or concerned at all. Like, there's never this moment between like, oh, we're trekking illegally across the United States to, we are being shot and killed and hunted down like dogs, and we are freaking out right now. It just kind of happens. The music's not intense at all. There's no score to kind of build the tension. There's no reactions from people like, holy shit, get down, or like whatever. It's that transition moment from normal movie to thriller horror just is, I thought, was very, very weak. And I got taken out of it even more when I'm like, alright, there's like 10 of you left, and there's one dog. I mean, sure, he'll bite someone in the leg or the arm, and they'll be bleeding pretty bad, but you all team up together, there's rocks and sticks everywhere. You could kill the dog easily. There's really no ingenuity, survival instincts, or attempts to fight back from the Mexicans until the very, very end. And yes, I'm going to keep calling them the Mexicans, because they got no names. And there's this scene where Jeffrey Dean Morgan and the main character are like playing Ring Around the Rosie with this like rock outcrop, and there's like gravel everywhere, and it goes on for way too long, and it starts getting really awkward. And it's like 10 times by now this guy could have smashed Negan over the head with a rock and killed him. Now, there are 3 things I think the movie does do very well. There's a part where a girl is shot in the shoulder and she's bleeding and she's weak and she can't walk because her foot is broken too. And the main character just leaves her there to die. And he's like, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna leave you here to die. I'll give you all the rest of the water. But I got a son, and if I stay with you, we're both gonna die. So see ya. And I'm like, wow, what a dick. He does eventually change his mind and go back for her, but initially, like, he clearly intended. He didn't even leave her the flare gun to defend herself with, because there's a point where they do get a flare gun. And it's just like, that was cold, man. That is a good ethical question, though. It's like, I mean, if they had stayed, they probably would have died. But, like, still, is it okay to just leave someone to die? That's up to you, I guess. Another part where he's, like, crawling through cactuses, and the dog, Tracker is the dog's name, which I thought was really stupid. It's like, Tracker? Really? Why not just call it Spot, or Dog, or Doggy? Like, I thought that was a terrible name. It was really annoying to keep hearing Jeffrey Dean Morgan say, come on, Tracker, go get him, Tracker, 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 Tracker. It just started graining my ears. But the dog does get shot in the mouth with the flare gun, and it's just like lying there whimpering, and its face is all melting away. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan comes across, and he's like, starts bawling. He's like, oh no, I'm so sorry. He's like, you know, because he sent his dog after the Mexicans. And he shoots it in the head, and he's just like crying, and he's a mess. And it's like, oh, so this guy does have feelings. Interesting, because it's like he sees the Mexicans as animals, but yet he cares for his own animal. Probably because he's a nobody loser with no friends except that one dog, so now he knows he's alone in the world. And at the end of the movie, the main character does end up getting the rifle away from Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and he's got it pointed at him. I mean, how it happened was really stupid. They fell off a cliff together, and it's like, really, you gotta fall off with him? You can't just shove him and he lands on his face and dies, but whatever. But they fell off the cliff together. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's, like, bone is sticking out of his leg. They're miles from civilization, and his truck is flipped over, so Jeffrey Dean Morgan's gonna die either way. He's left out here alone in the desert. So, the Mexican guy has got this rifle on him, and he's yelling at him. He's like, you stupid gringo American, you killed them all, you know? I like how Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character plays such a weak, frail, just cowardly man. It's like he seems so like brutal and badass at the beginning, but at the end he's just a crying, sobbing mess begging for his life. And then there's a whole like, I really want to shoot you, but then I'd be no better than you kind of thing. And it's like, well, he's dead either way, so is it crueler to just let him die in the desert and then go run off? I like it when movies propose moral questions like that. It's like, what would you do in this situation? Would you shoot him in the face out of revenge, or would you leave him there to die because I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you? Or would you actually, because you're just such a great Samaritan person, carry him to a hospital? Which seems stupid and unthinkable at the time, but that's like the greatest act of compassion, of mercy. It's like, Jesus, love your enemies too. So this guy who has been trying to kill you for the last couple days, you're gonna save his life? Like, how do you think he's gonna deal with that? He could start seeing Mexicans as people, though. You could change his life. Granted, that's also pretty impractical because you got the girl to carry too, and you can't carry 2 people miles to civilization, but I don't know. What would you do? So I'm torn between 5 and 6 because I think from a filmmaking standpoint, it is a very mediocre movie that didn't make sense a lot of the time, that had no stakes whatsoever. But by the end, I'm asking questions and I'm putting myself in the situation. So it's on the border 5 to 6. So I'll just pick one at random. 5 out of 10. Mediocre. Which really is a shame because it had such a great concept. It's just executed by someone who knows how to frame a camera and not much else.